Hey everybody, this is 22 Tiger Dude, and I'm here to review The Giver. So, The Giver stars Jeff Bridges, Meryl Streep, Katie Holmes, Alexander Skarsgard, Brenton Thwaites, and Taylor Swift. The Giver is based off of the very popular novel. I read the Giver book. Well, I didn't. It was in 7th grade reading class. We were reading the book in class, but I barely paid any attention to the book. To be honest, most of my time in my class, I've actually been just daydreaming. So for that matter, I can't tell you how the book comes close to the movie. As a movie, The Giver was actually good. Very quick, the plot is just that they're in this world where it's a perfect community. There's no war, there's nothing bad going on in the world really, but it's basically in a world where you have no memories of anything. So it's all like, it's in a perfect community, but at the same time, it's not so perfect. Because there are strict rules to go along with it. I thought Jeff Bridges did a very excellent job as the Giver. Like, holy crap, I never thought I would see Jeff Bridges in a role like this, but he pulled it off so well. Brenton Thwaites as Jonas, he does a really good job as a receiver too. I cared about his character as we were following this journey with him, and the scenes where the Giver gives the receiver all the memories of the bad stuff. Like, he'll give him the good stuff, but he'll give him the bad stuff. And it's just really interesting to see how this character is starting to see the world not in black and white, but more in color. He's starting to feel more free now that he actually knows more about the world. The storyline was interesting for the most part. I found myself invested. We get to see what happens in the Giver's backstory, and you kind of feel bad for the guy. It does have something to deal with the role that Taylor Swift actually plays, and without really giving away her role, she was good as this character in The Giver's past. Meryl Streep, she plays the chief elder, the one that's really strict about the world. She wants to make sure no one has memories of the world, and they're actually after Jonas because of the fact that he's starting to be more aware of what the real world is like. But she actually does do a good job. Odeya Rush plays Fiona, and you could say that her and Jonas, they have some kind of sweet friendship going on. Like, you could just tell the two of them. I wouldn't say it's more of a romantic relationship, but it's more like a, oh yeah, they're very close kind of relationship. And I gotta say, every time Jonas and Fiona were together and all that, it made me smile because it actually added sweetness to the storyline. They had good chemistry. They were both very well-rounded characters. They were characters to root for, and I just really bought into it. I'm glad it's not like one of those shoehorn things where they rush into the relationship or any of that stuff. You know, the relationship they had in this movie didn't feel rushed, and Fiona has something to deal with how Jonas is seeing more of the world. I just thought that was really cool. I also gotta say, the black and white cinematography looks beautiful for the movie. I was actually blown away how great the cinematography looked in black and white. It was really breathtaking, and it was just as breathtaking when the cinematography was in color. I also really enjoyed how the movie has thought-provoking messages about how, yes, we have bad going on in the world, but just because there's bad doesn't necessarily mean everything in the world is bad. There is good to the world, and we should live life as positive as we can. Let's not see everything so negative, even with the crap that goes on. I really enjoyed how the movie played out, especially when it comes to the ending, because when they played that out in the ending with the imagery, it was quite powerful and deep in its own messages. Whenever there were some action scenes, sprinkles of them, it was really good, visually beautiful. Now, my only flaws with The Giver would be that the first 20 minutes really bored me. I didn't care for the first 20 minutes. Not only was it so dull, but it was very rushed. Like, the pacing was not very good. It wasn't until once The Giver started showing the receiver some stuff about the real world where I actually started getting into The Giver, and I actually started to feel invested in the movie. I actually felt like there was something for me to care about. Meryl Streep does do a good job as the chief elder, but as for her role, all she does is just kind of sit there. She doesn't really do anything. And I understand it's a character from the book, but the character herself just wasn't that interesting. As for the characters themselves, Katie Holmes and Alexander Skarsgard, they were both okay in their roles, but I couldn't really get behind their characters because there really isn't any interesting characterizations with them, as well as the majority of the characters. The only characters I truly cared about in this film is Jonas, Fiona, the Giver, and Jonas's little sister. They don't show much of her, but I did care for the character. And I also do gotta say, while the ending is beautiful and deep with its messages about the real world, I did feel like the ending was a little bit rushed. Like, it just wraps up very quick, it cuts to the end credits, and it's all like, that's the ending? Well, okay then. Overall, I thought The Giver was a good movie. It was solid. It was interesting for the most part. It had at least main characters I could get behind and root for. In my opinion, it was a movie worth seeing, so I'm going to give The Giver a solid 3 out of 4 stars. I am 22 Tiger Dude. Don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power!